welcome to the Sports Sit-Down. We hope you are doing well and are safe. I'm Sunay Sanghani. I'm your host, and today I'm joined by Kiran Costa, Nate Martin, and CJ Roulo. The original gang is back at it again to talk about sports because the current sports climate, guys, is awesome. The MLS tournament is currently going on, or MLS is back, final tournament, whatever that means, is going on. The NBA bubble is back, and it's really, really intense. The MLB is also intense because of the Astros and the coronavirus situation that's going on right now. And we're so excited to be here and talk about the MLB and the NBA today for you
Don't
guys.
forget about the college football and that whole controversy. Also, let me just say
that's a whole other episode. That is so
different
complicated.
episode, bud. Here we go.
Let me just say, sports since the last time we did an episode just went from 0 to 100. All right, we had soccer going on in Europe. We had Aussie rules, which I'm very happy about, but that's no longer being shown in the U.S. Poor me. But sports in America have gone 0 to 100, and I'm all for it.
I am too. So let's get started. The NBA 8th seed is heating up, as I had mentioned. The Portland Trailblazers just won. Their win is fresh out of the oven against the Dallas Mavericks to kind of take that sole possession of the 8th spot. But Phoenix is there, the Grizzlies are there, and so are the Spurs, even though they may be out of contention by now. So the situation, as it seems like, is that if the Blazers win, they're in. If Memphis wins, they're in. The Suns can only get in if they win, and you need a loss by either Memphis or Portland. A lot of scenarios, a lot of situations. The Memphis Grizzlies have not been good in the bubble at all, even though they were the 8th seed lock. They had the 8th seed, had a good lead on the 8th seed coming into the bubble. The Suns play the Mavs and the Blazers play the Nets. Nate, let's start out with you. Who is getting the 8th seed, and who are we going to see in the play-in?
Well, first of all, I'd just like to preface this that I kind of expected the Suns to do pretty bad in the bubble. I mean, they're a very young team. I really like the Suns for the upcoming decade. Ja Morant, Brandon Clark, Jaren Jackson. That's a great young core right there down in Tennessee. But I just kind of expected them to do pretty bad in the bubble. The big surprise, obviously.
Are you talking about the Suns or the Grizzlies?
I'm talking about the Grizzlies.
Right, okay, you said.
Okay. Did I say the Suns? Okay,
Yes.
that's my next point.
You're good, man.
That's my next point. The Suns were kind of like an outside shot. I believe they were last place in the Western Conference of the teams that were invited to the bubble. But they won 7 straight games, led by Devin Booker and company. This is a great team. I've always expected them to be great. I mean, I think people don't realize how good of a center DeAndre Ayton is. I love DeAndre Ayton, and Kelly Oubre, of course. But I thought this team was going to blossom next year or the year after, not this year. And the team has shocked me, and that's a great thing. I'm really liking how the Suns are playing. I see them making it to the play-in game with Portland. But I think Portland's going to win. I think Portland is playing with a vengeance. They played very poorly in the regular season. Damian Lillard is arguably the best point guard in the NBA right now. And I just really like that guard combo. You got Collins and Nurkic down low. Nurkic is back healthy from our boy Kiran. And then Carmelo Anthony rounding it out at the 3. It's a great all-around team. And plus good bench depth with Gary Trent Jr. leading the way. I'm really liking Portland to solidify that 8th seed in the West.
My predictions are exactly the same as Nate's. I think Memphis has played terribly in the bubble, and I think that will continue against the Bucks team. Giannis probably will not play. He'll probably be on limited minutes or not play at all, as they've already clinched the 1 seed and are just playing a meaningless game against Memphis. But I'm going to take Portland and the Suns in the play-in game, and I also think that the Blazers will take it. And, yeah, I think getting Nurkic and Collins back were huge for them. And then Lillard is just out of this world in the bubble. He dropped 61 today, 54 against Philadelphia on Sunday. He's playing out of his mind. I think the Blazers will take the 8th seed in the play-in game over the Suns.
Yeah, I mean, you're looking at this, and your first question is, we're this late in, we've got 1 game left for all the teams, and we're down to 4 teams for 1 slot, which is honestly great. The NBA needs this. I don't see the Grizzlies doing well. I mean, especially as everybody said, they're playing the Bucks. Bucks are loaded. Already clinched the one over my beloved Raptors. I'm so disappointed. Trailblazers just won. Suns. I think it's honestly going to be. Yeah, I think everybody's got it nail on the head. Blazers, Suns, unless the Grizzlies and Blazers manage to mess up, and somehow the Suns get blown out, which I'm not seeing. They've been playing excellently. I'm going to be a little different, though, and say, no, I think the Suns actually may have a chance against the Blazers. The youth actually could help because in one case, the Blazers have been there before. They've been to a lot of playoffs, and, that pressure could actually, start to hit them a little bit more because the Suns is kind of like, oh, hey, we're doing really well. We're on this hot streak. Let's keep it up. And, I'll be honest, you see that in every sport, the young guys who they kind of feel like, hey, we're on a hot streak. We don't care. And the Blazers may have a bit more pressure because, like, oh, man, we barely squeaked in. We're used to the playoff atmosphere. Now there's no fans. We can't really get an audience behind us to, hype us up. So I got the Suns Blazers, but I got the Suns coming out the 8th seed.
Interesting. So, yeah, I think I have the Suns and the Blazers as well. But I think you're kind of right, CJ, because if you look at every single game the Blazers have played, it's really close. They haven't played a single game that's been a blowout. The Suns are on absolute hot streak. They have everything you want in an NBA team, a superstar depth, a good center, three-point shooting, and a great coach. But, now that you said it, it kind of makes me want to go with the Suns coming out of the play-in. But I just can't go against Damian Lillard. He's too good. 61 points for him today. He's been on a tear. CJ McCollum has to – one thing I'll point out is CJ McCollum has to start playing well because the Suns – have a lot of steady scoring coming from multiple different fronts. Portland is not a team with a lot of depth. So they need Damian Lillard to go do really well, which you can depend on almost every time. CJ McCollum needs to start playing better, and maybe Gary Trent too. He had a poor night today. And same thing with Yusuf Nurkic, because the Phoenix Suns have a lot of weapons. Go ahead, Nate.
But here's the thing with Portland, all the close games that they have played, Damian Lillard has stepped up. I think it's very easy to say that Damian Lillard is the most clutch player in the NBA right now. He is an incredible, incredible player to watch. Even if he choked against the Clippers, that doesn't really matter. I still think they have the 8th seed locked. But I do see your point with Phoenix, and I could see it happening, but I find it very unlikely. I just think that DeAndre Ayton, as much as I love him, is going to get absolutely bullied by Nurkic and Collins.
Is it basically just one where you're saying that because they're so youthful, that's end up kind of biting them a little bit more, or is it just more the physicality?
But that, but then also that Portland also has some youth. Zach Collins and Nurkic are both 24, 25, I think. They're still pretty young guys. Yeah.
But I'd say this. I think, CJ, that's a good point. The Suns have nothing to lose because no one expected them to come in here and do this well. We were joking with Dieter Kurtenbach in our interview that they shouldn't even deserve a spot in there because they were really that bad. And they came out of nowhere, really. And the Blazers have all the expectation going into the play-in because everyone expected them to be like a 6th seed or 5th seed, not an 8th seed. So it's an interesting point because the pressure really can get there.
Yeah.
Imagine this, guys. The bubble TJ Warren still with the Suns. I think that's an easy 8th seed right there if you still have TJ Warren. Easy.
That's true.
Cash considerations, all right?
Yeah.
Good thinking, Phoenix.
Well, it's worked so far for Phoenix, but can't blame them.
A win-win situation for both Portland and for both Phoenix and Indiana.
Sure. So now that we've set our 8th seed teams, the 8th seed is just a part of the battle. There's still an uphill battle after you get into the 8th seed because you have to face the mighty or not so mighty anymore Los Angeles Lakers, LeBron James and Anthony Davis. There's been a lot of talk recently, to my surprise, that people are saying that, the Lakers, if the Blazers get in, the Lakers aren't getting out. If the Suns get in, the Lakers aren't getting out. They've struggled a lot. They, I believe, only have 2 wins in the bubble. They won yesterday against the Nuggets, which is a huge win. But, again, they haven't looked good whatsoever. CJ, what do you think? Can the Lakers really not get past the first round if the Suns or the Blazers, the Grizzlies, meet them in the first round?
So this is where it gets interesting, at least for me. So the Lakers essentially this year basically said we're building around two players, LeBron and AD. Now they haven't been doing well. I mean, they were doing great up until this hit. They were doing really, really well. I was actually surprised because a lot of people were actually questioning earlier. Hey, are LeBron and AD going to be working together? They're so hey, I'm the star player. They managed to put that aside, which is good for them. I haven't followed the bubble too closely, but no, I mean, if they're not doing well here, it could be one where, hey, they're still trying to – I mean, they're not young guys. LeBron's not young, we'll be honest. AD, younger, but still, it's like, he's been here for a bit. And it could be one where they're taking longer to ramp up, so they're going to look bad now. Now, as there is only one game left, the Blazers doing really well, the Suns doing really well. It's definitely a possibility where, the Lakers, hey, we've got two big scoring threats. They're not fully ramped up. They're not fully ready. And, the Suns, Blazers, they're all ramped. They're ready. They've been basically having a grind for an 8 seed. They've got all the momentum coming in. No, I can definitely see the Lakers getting, blindsided by this. And everyone's going to be like, oh, my gosh, the Lakers were the super team. And they just lost to, Phoenix and DeAndre Ayton. Where the heck did that come from?
Yeah, so here's my hot take for the episode. I said Portland makes it into the 8th seed. I think Portland upsets the Lakers in maybe 6 or 7. Because and here's the thing.
Not 7.
Oh, yeah,
like 6
you're
games?
Right, you're right.
6 games or 7
6
games?
games. I'll take 6.
All right, okay.
The only way the Lakers will win if playoff LeBron comes out of nowhere. And that could be a possibility. It always is a possibility. It's LeBron James. He's the best player in the world. But I really like the Blazers, even though they don't have depth. They have a really good depth compared to the Lakers. The Lakers haven't had – the main issue with the Lakers this bubble, or one of them, has been bench scoring. They haven't gotten good bench scoring. And the Blazers got Gary Trent Jr. I mean, I think in the playoffs it's really strength in numbers. We saw that with the Warriors these past 5 years. And – the Cavaliers were, even with LeBron, the Cavaliers couldn't get over the Warriors hump. Well, they only did it once. And that's because they didn't have enough depth. And it's the same thing here. I think, and then also a big concern for me is Anthony Davis. The one bright side for the Lakers this bubble has been Anthony Davis. I think he's averaging 40 points per game. I think the big men of the Blazers can lock them down. I think Nurkic, Collins, and Hassan Whiteside all can clamp down and lock them up, which I think which is the main reason why, to me, that the Blazers will win. It's the guard combo of McCollum and Lillard, because the Lakers have no guards. And then it's the defense of Nurkic, Whiteside, and Collins. And I think that's why I see the Blazers beating the Lakers.
I see where you guys are coming from, and I honestly would not be surprised if the Trailblazers took down the Lakers, but I'm not going to bet against playoff LeBron and this amazing LeBron and AD combination we've seen all year, because they had 2 bad games. That's insane. The team lost 15 games before the bubble, and they lose 4 games. They go 2-4. How does that one bad stretch make me turn against LeBron and AD? No. I'm gonna stick with LeBron and AD. LeBron he's otherworldly in the playoffs.
And that's the one concern with me is who's gonna guard LeBron. And I mean, because we all know Carmelo Anthony is no defender. Melo can't do it. I think
can do it.
Collins could do it. They could go with a big man rotation. They could have Collins at the 3, or Nurkic at the 3 or something like that, and have Hassan Whiteside starting along them. 3 setters on the court. Okay. That could be a possibility for Portland. Go the Denver Nuggets approach and go 5 centers. But I mean, I just don't see it happening.
I don't see it
against
either.
LeBron and AD after 4 bad games. You can't get swung that easily. That's nothing.
And I feel like, at least I don't want to speak for you guys, but I've made that mistake before where I've gone against LeBron and said, oh yeah, this is not his year. I just don't want to do it again because I like being right, as some of you guys know, rather than being wrong. So, I mean, it's an interesting thing. I feel like Melo can guard LeBron, though. He's he's lost weight. He's quicker. He looks a lot better
And
on the court than he did on the Knicks.
They have a lot of experience playing against each other because they're close friends. They probably 1v1
Yeah.
all the time.
Yeah, but like I said, Portland is barely beating the Sixers, who don't have Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid.
Yeah.
Portland is barely beating,
The Mavericks.
the Clipper. I mean, well, they lost to the Mavericks. Like they have been in every single game. They've been in a close game. So even if they take like the first two or like the first one, it's a 7-game series. LeBron's going to make adjustments. And yesterday, actually, this was interesting. Just like minutes before we came on the show, I read something from LeBron where he said, "We're not in playoff mode yet," and he warned the NBA. So take it as you.
That's not ominous. That's not ominous from possibly the best player of all time right now.
I know this doesn't change much, but I mean, they looked much better yesterday. Both Anthony Davis and LeBron had a double-double. Kuzma put up 15.
Yeah.
I mean,
Kuzma with the game winner though.
I wanna touch on something Nate said though, because I feel like Portland has great depth, and I think that's why it's so crucial for the Lakers to have Anthony Davis, LeBron, and Kuzma be on their A game. Because I think yesterday was really Kuzma's A game, if you look at it, because he struggled a lot, and because it's been a tough go for the Lakers, but
it's consistency. It's really consistency and depth. And the guard situation is horrible for the Lakers.
Going back to Nate's earlier point, I think the X factor matchup is going to be in this series is AD versus the Blazers bigs of Nurkic, Collins, and Whiteside. I think that's going to be the big matchup to watch in that series, and whoever takes away that matchup, whoever wins that matchup is going to win the series.
I think that's a good point. It's something we'll keep a close eye on.
I think that, yeah. And
again, this is only if the Blazers get into the 8th seed. They're still a playoff.
If the Suns, any other team that makes it to the 8th seed, Lakers are going to crush them.
Okay.
But Blazers, the Blazers, I like my chances.
All right, so we got 2 yeses for Blazers upset and 2 no's for Lakers win. Okay, we'll see how that plays out, and that'll be interesting to watch. I think that would be a very interesting first series. The whole West really is amazing. So I'm going to zoom out a lot now. We started with the play-in, started with the first round between the Lakers and the 8th seed. Now I'm going to zoom out a lot and go, who do you have it winning it all? I just want 2 words, 1 team, first thing that comes to your mind. Let's go with Kiran.
I'm sticking. This was my prediction at the start of the year. This was my prediction in our last show, Clippers Bucks.
Nate.
I've changed my prediction. I'm taking the Clippers over the Raptors.
Oh, okay. CJ.
I'm going with Nate. Yeah, same. Clips Raps.
The Raptors. 905.
Yeah.
I'm going Clippers and Bucks as well. It's too hard. All right, we'll see, and I hope we can get a bracket going soon on one of these episodes. I'll give you a guarantee we can do that for sure. Moving on now to the MLB. It's been going on for a couple of weeks. There's been a couple coronavirus breakouts between the St. Louis Cardinals, Phillies, and Marlins. Marlins is a big one. Some players not following rules. It's kind of inexcusable, and it's been kind of a turmoil. Some games canceled. So some teams have played more games than other teams. Some teams have, like the Marlins, for example, are first in their division still, or top seeding in their division because they didn't have that many games played. And it's just been chaos, utter chaos in the MLB. And not only that, there's the Astros situation, we'll get to later. But there's been a lot of talks by Rob Manfred about canceling the league or moving to a bubble. Guys, what should Rob Manfred do? CJ, what's the next move here?
My first question, of course, is going to be, should they move to a bubble? Where are we going to put it? I mean, you can't put it out west easily. You can't do it in a big city like Los Angeles. You can't do it in San Francisco. You can't do it in like New York, even though New York is still saying, hey, we'll do it. I just, they had that giant thing. New York City's still going insane. So where are you going to put it? That's going to be my first question. If I was going to put it somewhere, I would honestly put it in Texas. You put one in Houston, one with the Rangers. Rangers got the brand new ballpark. That's pretty easy. Probably put all the AL teams in Houston, which is, just going to be utter chaos and fun. Every team's like, oh, we're in Houston? God, we got to play these guys. So you could probably do something like that. Overall, I mean, canceling the league, they want to get to the playoffs, which I'd honestly love. I mean, the 60 games, though, I think it's kind of stupid. I mean, honestly, they probably shouldn't have started the season in the first place because 60 is so piteous. It's just like, one team that's on a hot streak. I mean, Marlins right now, even with the coronavirus, it's like, Marlins leading the NL East is something no one's expecting to read ever until probably like 2025 or something when like all their guys come up and the owners haven't sold the team and Jeter hasn't, completely just unloaded everybody as soon as they got a whiff of being good. So, yeah, that's me. I mean, my question is if we just do decide to move to a bubble is where we're going to place it because, NHL managed to do it, half in Toronto, half in Edmonton, which has worked out pretty well. MLS did it down in Orlando. The NBA is doing it in Orlando as well, but it's just, it's going to be they need a city big enough or somewhere big enough to host all the teams, or you got to do multiple sites with all the teams, or you have to have one and you just pick like 10 or so teams that you think are maybe going to make it, and then that's going to be just one giant tournament or something.
So CJ, I really like your point of where they're going to put it, and that's the reason I don't think they can bubble. I mean, there's already been so much controversy on the Blue Jays playing at a minor league field.
But they made it look good, and they were trying to play at Toronto, but Toronto shut it down. That wasn't even the Jays saying no. That was the city of Toronto telling them no, you can't do it.
But let's say we do it in Texas. I don't think that's the first place they're going to do it. But then there's going to have to be 14 other stadiums that host teams. Maybe that's a lot. Let's say there's going to be at least 10 other stadiums, not MLB ballparks, that are going to host teams. And okay, yes, UT Austin, TCU, and Rice all have lights on their field.
Or Kieran,
But I think there's other ones that don't. And I don't think they can field literally enough MLB regulation baseball fields to put a bubble anywhere.
So Kieran, just for Texas alone, you've got two MLB teams.
Mm-hmm.
You've got the Texas League, which has got a ton of teams. So theoretically, you could have the hub be in Houston and whatever,
That's
and then you could have
Texas, though.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying you could do that. Or you basically do it where you have like super, super early morning games. Because, they could do that. There's nothing saying, you have to play, 6 p.m. start, whatever start. I mean, you theoretically could have baseball all day.
7 games a day. That's
fine. You could do that. They do that in travel ball all the time, dude.
Yes,
I mean, why the heck not?
I'd love to high schoolers. Aaron Judge isn't waking up at 7:30 in the morning.
I'd love to see that. Personally, I'd love to see that, man. I'd love to see that, dude.
Yeah. I would love to see. I would love how to see 4 hours of sleep will affect MLB athletes. Yeah, that's a horrible idea.
Okay. First of all, I think no bubble is better than 2 stadiums or any bubble. I mean, I honestly don't think they can bubble. And
wait, really? Even but okay, so
I don't think they can.
I'm not arguing on the point that no bubble is better. That's fine, but you're saying that they shouldn't even go look at it. Is that what you're saying? Not even consider it?
I don't think they can pull it off because I mean, Orlando's one campus, right? Like that's Disney
Right.
World. You can't lead Disney World. There's nothing like that in the MLB.
True.
They'd say the whole state of Texas is the bubble. That's the only way they can do it. And is that really
Texas is one of the worst hit states in the country for COVID. I mean, that makes zero sense to me.
Texas and Arizona are the only 2 options.
Yeah, I mean,
Florida.
unless you want to do Florida, but I doubt that.
They can't do
I mean,
Florida.
the thing is, if you do it, you have to go to a state which has minor league ballparks, which honestly, no player is going to care. No. You need to basically go to a state that has a minor league system. So California League, you could do it there. Florida State League, you could do it there. Texas, check. Throw out the Arkansas thing, whatever.
Arizona
for the spring training.
All the spring training.
You could do New York.
To say Arizona. Arizona has a nice setup already. They do.
Yeah, I mean,
spring training.
You
there.
could.
That's what I'll say. I say Arizona's the only way they can do it, and I think that's even still a little bit of a stretch because I mean it depends what we're saying defines bubble. I mean because it's not going to be the NBA bubble. It's not one campus where you can't leave.
Yeah. I think the MLB and the MLS are the golden child of bubbles because there's no way. Because MLS and MLB, the other thing that I was thinking of was the time of the games is fixed. So in baseball, if you go extra innings and there's another team waiting to clear out and, you have to start the other game, that's impossible.
Let me just say this. I think that the MLB was doomed from the start. I think because of their horrible COVID protocol and trusting 20-year-olds, 25-year-olds to stay inside for the most of a day when they're not playing games, I think that was going to be doomed from the start. And I definitely think that having a bubble, having a league without a bubble is possible. I mean, we saw it in England, we saw it in Australia, and we saw it all over Europe and Asia. I mean, it's definitely possible, and all of those countries still have COVID, not as bad as the U.S., but obviously they still have it. It's still a disease. But I just think it was doomed from the start. I think even with all the TV deals, they will have to cancel the season. If not, they're going to have to figure out a way to have the Cardinals play 55 games in 45 days. That's going to be really hard to do. I just don't see it happening.
And I mean, I want to move on to our next topic here, but let me just add. The players, I mean, I know it's tough to follow the rules, but it's very irresponsible. I think, NBA players doing it, MLS players doing it, NFL players right now are taking precautions. I think the players also are a little bit to blame here.
It's just because they have no respect for Manfred, and I highly doubt NFL players have that
But I mean,
respect
also
for
at that point, I think it's bigger than Manfred, though, right? This is if you get coronavirus, you have the possibility to spread it to other people. I don't know. That's again another episode.
And the long-term effects can be terrible for the later parts of their career as well.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the players should.
We've seen that concern. We've seen that concern with long-term health with college football. That's the main reason why we're not having college football seasons in the Big Ten and Pac-12.
Right.
So.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you touched on a little bit. Players are mad at Rob Manfred, and partially has to do with the Astros situation. Astros have been getting thrown at by a lot of pitchers. Joe Kelly, who got suspended 8 games, which is equivalent to I think 22 games in the regular season. And you can see CJ and Kiran are gearing up, and even Nate. So I'm gonna just let this do the talking. We have about 5 minutes. Kiran, make sure to not take up the 4 minutes because he is a Yankees fan and he's ready to go.
What
is Rob Manfred doing, Kiran? Explain.
What is that? That is a great question. And I think that's on everyone's mind. What is Rob Manfred doing here? Joe Kelly, 8 games for not even hitting the Astros. He threw behind him and
talk some smack.
Yeah, he made a crybaby face, and he pitched behind him. He never hit. He only hit 1 batter, and that's an 8-game suspension. Also, Joe Kelly cannot command the plate in practice for the Red Sox, for the Dodgers. There's a 50% chance that he just couldn't find the strike zone because that's the pitcher that he is. He gets 8 games. Ramon Laureano charges the Astros players because they were being
rude to his mother.
Yeah.
Was it because they said something about his mom?
Yeah.
Or something.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
oh, wow.
Astros player hit Ramon Laureano. Astros dugout starts talking smack to him. He charges them. He gets
5 games.
He gets 6-game suspension. What is going on? Astros cheat in the World Series, the biggest stage, twice for 3 years. No suspension. Joe Kelly misses the zone 3 times. 8 games. How is that how you can run an organization?
Let me just say, if you are not liked by people and you want to be an American hero and you're a baseball player, just start with the Astros. You're going to become an American hero instantly.
Pretty much.
Joe Kelly is.
No.
And one last point I have here. One last point. The Astros cannot win baseball games without cheating. They are 7-9. Altuve's hitting under 200. Bregman's hitting 224. Yuli's hitting under 3, is hitting 260. Raddick's hitting under 250. Springer's hitting under 200. I mean, when they don't know what pitch is coming, they can't hit the baseball. That's a
all right.
lot.
Let's go to the other baseball fanatic here.
No, and I'll be honest. Back in the old days, if this happened, I'll be honest. The league basically let it slide. It was, hey, teams are going to fix it the way teams fix it. That's throwing at guys. That's starting stuff. Whatever. League was pretty lenient because there was the code. And I think nowadays, I need to be careful because I think baseball's gotten soft. I mean, we're seeing the possible advent of the universal DH. In my opinion, that's really bad because now you're just basically going, let's go play 2020 cricket and not care about strategy at all. Absolute disgrace to the game, in my opinion. And I think that the Astros, they kind of knew this was coming. So I think the Astros stepping up is actually making it worse because if they just took it and, didn't respond, it's like, hey, we knew this was coming. Everybody knows it's coming. I think the situation would die out quicker because everybody's just like, oh, nothing's happening. But by stepping up and kind of just, smack talking back, they're actually making it worse because now teams are going, oh, now they're not only did they cheat for 2 years, now they're willing to, tell us, hey, your mom's ugly or whatever. And that's really going to start making the situation worse. The Astros actually have made the situation worse by stepping up instead of just taking it overall.
Nate?
I mean, I don't know how I feel about it because, yeah, they cheated. And, yeah, Manfred's an absolute idiot and a horrible commissioner. But, it is what it is. And they, as CJ said, they have been expecting this. And I bet they didn't expect to get a punishment this week from the MLB. And, of course, they're going to brag to people about it because that's making them feel cocky, I don't have much to say about it. I think everything about it has been said. Screw the Astros. Screw Rob Manfred. Go Giants.
There we
But
go.
I'll just say this. I think the Astros just need to shut it. Let them throw out. You can't do anything. Rob Manfred, for some reason, is defending you. He's doing you favors. And it's really interesting because I remember 3 years ago I was listening.
At least Roger Goodell actually did some damage to the Patriots. At least Goodell was like, oh yeah, screw the Patriots. He does it was very clear that he's not a Patriots fan after that happened.
Right.
Manfred's clearly supporting them.
And I was listening to an interview 3 years ago, and I still remember this to this day because there was a couple of MLB reporters. I think it was Ken Rosenthal or someone who was saying that Rob Manfred might actually have a chance to be one of the best commissioners all around sports. And now I think you just look back at that.
That is an overstatement right there. Oh,
so I'll leave you with that thought, guys. We're out of time, unfortunately.
I'm sorry.
Quick thought.
Yes, Rob Manfred's terrible, but you can't blame Ken Rosenthal 3 years ago because he was not terrible 3 years ago. But he has just gone. He has just completely lost the handle of the sport.
Right. I agree with you. He was actually pretty decent in 2017 when he took over. All right, so that does it for us. Sports Sit Down. We'll have the updates for you as things go along. It's been an exciting time for Nate, CJ, and Kiran. I'm Sunay Sanghani signing off. We hope you have a good day, and thanks for watching the show.